Well, good morning, everyone. We're here again inside, and we're here again on StreamYard because it's the only way I can get my camera to work is via StreamYard, which is really weird. Anyway, what we're going to do in this video is we're going to carry on from where we left off, just looking at some of the points that Chris McDonough made 2 days ago now in relation to his 7 months later assessment of his visit to the house and his interview with Candus Bly. I've got some further points to make. I'm being very, very selective in what I choose, as I did yesterday, because I'm picking the things that kind of pick up on points that I've been making recently in my videos. So if you're new to the channel, welcome, but do take a look back through my extensive back catalogue on the Summer Wells case, because I've covered just about every topic you can imagine in relation to the Wells case over the last 7 months. Without further ado, I want to look primarily at Candus when it looks like she's lying, and just to contemplate some of the reasons why she might be lying. And that kind of leads us on to speculation, of course, about why she might be lying in relation to, well, what happened to Summer Wells.
She doesn't have the skill, in my opinion, to process all of that emotion. Now, does she have the skill to play, i.e., I'll guess your weight for $10 at the carnival? Of course. Of course.
We do know that Candus is able to prank. She's able to be very convincing when she's pranking. And what's another word for pranking? Lying. But a point that Chris makes here, it's just on the back of her holding the kitten and kind of stroking the kitten. And he's saying this is kind of an emotional crutch. She's taking comfort from the cat. This is shortly after the boys were removed into CPS care. So, it's a very emotional time. And I think Chris is right that Candus doesn't know how to process emotion. She's struggling to process emotion. And I think that's why she can look distant, somewhat cold, detached perhaps. We all process emotion differently, of course. I think Candus is somebody who doesn't process emotion very well. And the emotion that she does express is very blunted.
But some of these emotional responses are automatic from her central nervous system. And, she can't really figure out how to manipulate those, right? So this is what makes her believable to folks.
And she can be very believable. She absolutely can be very believable. The people who heard that prank call to Don's stepsister Mary absolutely believed it. I posted on my channel, convinced by the people who'd heard the call, reliable people who'd heard that call, saying, Don's been arrested, there's something really serious going on. Candus she's an absolute wreck. And it was all a big joke. It was all a big lie. What Chris is getting at here is the emotional responses we have that we don't control. They come from our unconscious, if you will. We can try to control them. We can use tactics and techniques and things to cope with our emotions. But when you're lying, there are ways that the truth seeps through. And that's what body language experts are talking about. But I think with any analysis of someone's emotional response, whether it's through their body language, through the words they use, or anything else, any other medium, we've got to understand what that person's baseline is. And what we don't have in this regard is a baseline for Candus. How does she behave normally? Not when her kid's gone missing, but how does she behave normally when she's stressed or upset about something a lot less intense, a lot less serious? We don't have a baseline, which concerns me. All the body language analysis that has been done on this case, that's my issue with a lot of it, is that people don't understand that you have to have a baseline to compare against. But Chris is right in that she is struggling to understand how to present herself. And that could be because she's lying. It could be because she's incredibly nervous and she wants to come across well to Chris. She's aware what people are saying online and therefore she wants to present herself well. But this coming up is really, really interesting.
To a lot of people, okay, it's because she has this capability, to turn some volume on, turn some volume off. But this type of emotion is locked into the emotional response from something going on up here. Something's going on. And it could be what we call carryover stress from the water hole, okay? Where your stress is, you're still processing now the water hole, the boy's missing, summer, maybe I did something, maybe this person did something. So there's a lot of things going on here right now.
Yeah, there is. There is a great deal going on. Her boys have just been taken away. She's getting intense scrutiny from people who she doesn't know on the internet. She's allowed Chris, a stranger who she only met earlier that day, into her most personal space, into her home. She's had a conversation with him at the swimming hole. She doesn't know how that's gone. She hasn't had a chance to process that. She didn't know Chris was going to come to the home. She voluntarily allowed him to, but she's not been able to process how she thought she did at the swimming hole. And I remember, I think it was at the end, said that after the cameras turned off, she completely broke down. That completely breaking down could have been another lie. We know she can act. We know she can put on that kind of really extreme emotional response. Or it could have been real. Now, could that have been that she was experiencing post-traumatic stress, a post-traumatic reaction? She said to Chris as they were going towards the swimming hole, she said, everything's slowing down. And that's normal. That's normal in that post-traumatic state. You can kind of feel zoned out, what we call derealised. Everything's a bit off kilter. So derealisation is where you're experiencing reality, but you're off kilter. So it doesn't feel real. And that's a very common post-traumatic stress reaction. I get it when I'm under extreme stress. When my son was killed, I felt derealised for, I'd probably say, 6 weeks, a month to 6 weeks at least. And for several months after, I went through periods where things just did not seem real. And I couldn't conceptualize it as everything was in slow motion. What I would say is everything was just a little bit blurred. Not physically blurred, but it was like I wasn't there some of the time. It was like everything was going on around me and I was an observer rather than a participant. But we all respond to extreme stress, like bereavement or your kid going missing, in very different ways. And I'm wondering whether Candus is experiencing derealisation. And when she said everything seems slowed down, I think what people have jumped on is that something must have happened at the swimming hole. And I don't believe that. I don't believe anything happened at the swimming hole. But she knew she was shortly going to be talking about this day, and Chris was going to ask her lots of questions. And I think saying that everything was in slow motion was her way to say that she was experiencing derealisation. Obviously, I'm putting myself in Candus's shoes, and I might be speculating completely in the wrong direction. Candus might be experiencing stress, but not in that way. But it's how I interpreted what Candus meant. So yeah, there's lots and lots and lots going on in Candus's life, obviously. And quite frankly, unless you've had someone very close to you go missing, you don't know how you're going to react. You really don't. And she's under intense scrutiny. And we've got to remember that. And I'm not sticking up for Candus. I think she knows a hell of a lot more than what she said. I don't think her story about the script is credible. And I am going to do a part 3 because I can see how I'm going to be talking lots and lots and lots about this. So I'm going to do a part 3. So I'm going to leave some of that for that video.
And I was trying to move her towards this open conversation and keep her folks, in there, right? Street smarts. Yep. It could be street smarts. Yeah, I agree with that, but she's manipulative as a whole. You know what I mean? I'm not here to judge anybody, right? I'm here to talk about. You see, when I said that, I'm not here to judge anybody. How did she answer me? All right. Okay. Now, what she underestimates me, okay, what she underestimates me is this is not my first rodeo. Okay. And she wasn't even close, because over the time here, I've come back to study this multiple times and caught some things. Summer, and help you find Summer, okay? And help anybody help find her, okay? That message. Okay, this is a very interesting move from her. This is a defense mechanism. She takes her hat off and she starts, messing with her hair. Watch how many times you see her do this when she's starting to get stuck. I.e., I'm not sure if I'm selling this correctly.
When we watch these over and over, we do pick up things that we didn't see before. Until Chris mentioned it, I'd never noticed what Candus was doing with her hat. And it reminds me of what Ali said about how she responded when she was on FaceTime with Ali and Leslie on the night that Summer disappeared. So I'm going to play just a couple of seconds of that interview coming up.
Who called Hunter?
Candus did.
At 6:30? I don't know what time she called him.
Yeah, right now that timeline's unknown.
I think it had to be right around after 7, because he would call his mother first. I'm telling you, he would.
Okay. Then what? Then what took place?
So Wednesday.
So you're watching her though at around midnight.
Yeah. There's no emotion.
And she's playing with her hat.
Yeah, she's doing this with her hat.
Is she under the influence of anything at that point?
She seemed a little drunk to me.
Drunk?
And high.
Okay. Any other drugs on board, do you think?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so but we all do those little things that it's one of those unconscious processes that we don't know we're doing when we're under stress. It's a learned behaviour. She might be inattentive and have struggles with attention, and that's why she's got that learned behaviour of playing with things when she's stressed. But then once that stress comes along, she's in this state of emotional bluntness or emotional distance because she's experiencing something like derealisation. That's just my assessment. But let's move back on to what Chris talks about.
Go into the house.
Go in the house.
Can I fall? I shift her thought process back into away from Summer into let's talk environment. Follow you in, or you comfortable with that? Huh?
I don't know what about doing still the cat food.
And is this they're going to attack me?
No.
Oh, I was just I'm teasing you. The dog's going to attack me. This is the scaffolding you're talking about.
Yeah, that's my
Okay, so she comes up, jumps up, and goes right in.
Yep.
Okay. How many cats? You know what? You should have like a. Now see, I gave her the answer, and she dovetailed right into the answer. Okay. I.e., Summer jumped right up, went right in, and she goes, "Yep." Zoo license. Well, how does that correlate to the groceries? You know, I'm seeing all kinds of critters, which is good. Okay.
At this point, I'll end on, and I'll kind of tie this little bit of psychology that I've given to what's going on here and why Candus might be having that extreme reaction that she's so nervous about. And it could simply be that there's so much going on and she's trying to put on, a front to display herself in the best light she can, knowing all this crap's going on the internet. And that could be all it is. And she has absolutely no idea what happened to Summer. However, I do think there's more going on, because when you get into the timeline and you get into just how much time there is available that is unaccounted for, as I've said in numerous videos now, it begs the question, why? Why is there so much missing time? And is there things that Candus isn't saying that she's hiding? And some of the things she says and some of the responses she does. And just after this, when they go back out, she starts playing with her hat again. And it seems to be that the hat comes off and on and off and on when she's not telling the truth. When she's telling the story where there's possibly some truth in it, right? That they got groceries, they put groceries away. Summer might have gone and helped with groceries. But then there's this huge gap, because that's not going to take longer than 5-10 minutes at the most, right? They went over to Grandma's and put her groceries away and then went back to the house, and then Summer was playing with her toys and she had some toys in the kitchen. And Chris then talks about, well, why did she go down to the basement? If she got toys in the kitchen, why did she go back down to the basement? Well, maybe there was other toys in the basement she preferred. I'm going to say that I don't think she went down to the basement. I think the story falls apart. The story becomes a lie at that point when Candus says she walked Summer back over to the house. That's her trying to be the helicopter mother, to put herself in the best light possible so that nobody can accuse her of neglect. Why would she even think that if this was the truth? Is it because that's not the truth and that she was neglectful and she just did not know where Summer had gone? Did she go sleep? Did she fall asleep in Grandma's camper? Did she fall asleep in the house? The boys would know, but we don't know what the boys have said. Did she get drunk? Did she get high? We don't know. But there's something that Candus is reacting to here. And the only thing that you can really focus on is that missing time. And what happened to Summer in that time is the biggest question, in my opinion. So I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to do a part 3. All right, so stay tuned for part 3. Until then, I'll see you very soon. I shall bid you farewell. Bye, guys.